Hi, and welcome to another Ozworld. Today we're going to touch on something a little bit different. You've all heard of the Bermuda Triangle. Everybody knows it. Fly over that bit of sea and woo, you can disappear. A few hundred planes and boats have disappeared over the years, but that's about it. But this is going to surprise you. There's a place far worse than that called the Navada Triangle. The Nevada Triangle is situated, of course, in Nevada. You've been just to fill you in a little on a bit of information. The Nevada Triangle has on one part of it has Area 51. We're not going to be talking about Area 51, but I thought I'd just let you know that Area 51 is a little small part of the Sierra Nevada area, and 51 is on it. Also has Death Valley on it, and the Rocky Mountain. The triangle falls mostly in the state of Nevada, but it just has that little eastern bit of California in it, with Fresno in it. It borders the Great Basin Desert. Wow. Well, the reason why I'm saying this because in the summer, it's known as the hottest place on Earth. So you can imagine that's all inside of this. The reason why I'm explaining this all before I get started is because there's a lot of skeptical people who know about this and state the fact that you've got things like that. You've got a lot of information about how the winds come in over the mountains and can cause a downdraft that can sometimes be up to 400 miles per hour downdraft, or whatever it is in aeronautical terms. So for that reason, I'm giving this information, right? So you're better equipped for what we're going to go talk about. We have the three areas that it works on. Okay, we've got Reno, which is at the top part. You draw a straight line down to Las Vegas. You go across to Fresno, back up, and that is your triangle. Now we all know triangle, the Hoover Dam's in there, and it's got all that you need to make for a great conspiracy theory. You got the hottest place on earth. You have Area 51. You have Hoover Dam. You have all these, the Rocky Mountains, the final bit of their Rocky Mountains. And there's a lot that can cause problems anyway with people traveling either by foot, by car, or by plane. The thing that puts the Nevada Triangle into a spot that I thought we needed to find out about this is we all know the Bermuda Triangle. We know there's a couple of hundred boats, planes, and whatever have gone missing. But do you know in the Nevada Triangle, over 2,000 planes, and I've got to say this right to make sure I get this right, 2,000 planes have vanished in the Nevada Triangle, from sight in the Nevada Triangle. This works out roughly to be 3 planes a month that's gone missing since they started recording this. And by the way, just to fuel the flames just a little bit more, all this started to happen roughly about the time Area 51 was open for business. With the Roswell and everything, which is around that area as well, you've got a lot of things that can make you go, well, it's that. But the thing that I would like to touch on is because Area 51, fine, round that area, okay, I can say, right, you know what? If it's around Area 51, then it's got to have something to do with the American government, blah, 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 blah. The problem is when it goes all the way over to over to California, you're starting to think to yourself, there's a bit more to this than just Area 51. You're looking at the fact that there's 25,000 square miles, sorry, of area that this covers. Okay. And I'm talking boots on the ground as well as planes in the air. But mainly it's been planes. Now, I do understand, and if you do look it up, a lot of people are going to say, oh, well, it's, it's the downdraft and all that. Because Professor Richmond, who was the deputy, he's passed away, but he used to be the deputy director of the climate center over there. He explained that the wind coming in off the ocean pushes on through the mountains, collides with other winds, and forms a very bad downdraft, which for inexperienced pilots could cause all this to happen. Now, for a certain amount of reasoning, I can say, yeah, amateur pilots going out and they're flying and they lose control over this area with the downdraft, they could go missing. So the ones I'm going to tell you about that make me go, are the ones where I think, hang on, wait a minute. This jet stream, as strong as it is, Mr. Redmond, sorry, Professor Redmond, I take it back, it's not Richmond, it's Professor Redmond. As much as he explains about this downdraft, there are people who have been flying planes who are experienced people, and these are the ones I'm talking about. One such plane that went missing was the record-setting aviator, Steve Fawcett. Now, Steve, you may not know who he is straight away when I say his name, but this guy is the guy who flew round the world in a hot air balloon. First man to do this. Multi-millionaire, self-made man. He pushed himself to achieve. He's got his pilot's license. He's absolutely an amazing person, a major celebrity in American terms, and well respected, well loved. And then on September the 3rd, 2007, he got into his single engine plane and took off in the Great Basin Desert, Nevada, only to never return. After he was registered as missing, there was one of the biggest searches ever done in the United States. Now, the thing that people don't understand is this was a huge undertaking, and they covered all that area. Okay, so it's not, I do apologize, I have an itchy nose for some reason. It's not just a few people went out. This was a big operation. They looked for this guy. He was a force to be reckoned with. He was a icon. He was a hero, and they wanted to find him. So they set out to find this man, and they searched and they searched and they searched, and finally the search was called off on February the 15th, 2008. That's how long the search was going on for. Okay, so it wasn't a little search. They looked for this man, and they looked hard for him. Then, so that year, September the 29th, okay, so it was called off in February 2008. In September, okay, or the 29th, his identification card was found, okay, in the Sierra Nevada mountains. So, right, well, what do you do? Here we go, by a hiker. A few days later, they found the crash site. Okay, unfortunately, Steve was not in the plane. The plane was smashed up. They found some parts. They recovered two bones, basically, um, which was later confirmed that it was Steve's bones. But the thing that gets me about this was the biggest search in American history. They went over the area where his body and the plane was found. They flew around there. They searched around that area. Nothing was found. Now, don't get me wrong. I know those mountains are very, very difficult to traverse. I know that vegetarians, the trees and all the vegetation can be quite thick and somewhat difficult to spot things. But it was soon after his crash. Now, the plane would have caused damage to the area. So, when they were over that part, there would have been signs if they couldn't see the plane. There would have been signs, but there was nothing until it was found the following year. Okay, and this stumped me. This is what first drew my interest to this. It's like, if you have one of the biggest searches in American history, you'd have covered that area. They would have covered that 25,000 square miles of land, planes, everything, and we're talking about in early 2000s. So this is not back in the 50s and 60s where maybe it was a lot more difficult. They didn't have the kind of technology that they have now. But they didn't find the plane. Okay, and that's the thing. Now, one of the earliest losses, okay, another one of these things that I want to touch on, was a B-24 bomber that went missing in the Sierra Nevada mountains. After taking flight in December the 5th, the pilot, Second Lieutenant Willis Turvey, and co-pilot Lieutenant Robert Hester, as well as their crew, took off. And suddenly and mysteriously, the bomber disappeared off a radar. Nobody could find it anywhere. It was just a routine flight, something that had been done many times before. But for some reason, this time, it was never found. The plane just disappeared. Now, this is the thing. So the military say, right, okay, we'll get out. We'll send planes out to try and find this plane. And this is a bomber. So it's not a small plane. It's a B-24 bomber. Look it up. You'll see it's not a small plane. Okay? It disappeared with all hands. Okay? An extensive search began, and they used 9 B-24 planes to search for this one plane. And while searching for this one plane, they lost another plane. Another B-24 bomber went missing while looking for the original B-24 bomber. Now, what they said was that the pilot most probably saw a large white clearing and thought they would land. They would try and land there. Two of the crew jumped out, bailed out parachutes, and landed safely. Okay, but the rest of the crew went down with the plane. They said it was, down to the pilot landing on what he thought was a clearing, which turned out to be the lake. But the two lads that survived and the parachuted out and survived, they swore in their statements, in their sworn statements, they said that the lake was not frozen over. So there's no way the pilot would have mistaken the lake for a frozen lake. It wasn't frozen over. So there wouldn't have been any snow on it or any ice. So mysteriously, okay. Now, the thing is, while searching for the loss of the second bomber, where they believed it was turbulence, then the hydraulics went, then the plane went down. Okay, that's all well and good. The two soldiers that parachuted, the two survivors that parachuted out, confirmed in their statement that the lake wasn't frozen over. So there would be no reason that the pilot would be trying to land on the lake, thinking it was it was frozen. Okay, so that plane went missing. Years later, the lake had to be drained for some dam work. Okay, in the lake they found the original bomber with all hands still on board. The lake was then named after the co-pilot, and it's now called Hester Lake after the co-pilot of the bomber that went down. Okay, so we've got one amazing adventurer aviator missing, a very good pilot, two B-24 bomber on a routine flight that these pilots would have done many times. Experienced pilots, they go down. The second plane that went after them, mysteriously, now you know that military planes are checked and double checked and triple checked. You know that they're flight worthy when they go out. This is not a weekend pilot whose plane is a little bit worse for wear, got it cheap because he's got his pilot's license and he's going out flying. It's none of that. These are military trained pilots who have gone out and disappeared. The next one I'm going to tell you another one that went missing was in 1941, Lieutenant Leonard C. Layden. Okay, while he was flying his P-40, okay, his plane went missing. He parachuted to safety and was found. Okay, the plane was sworn to have gone down a few miles from where he landed in his parachute. He said it was literally, like the guy was like, it went down there. Yeah, I landed here, it crashed in there. That plane was never found. Never found at all. Okay, to this day, that plane hasn't been found, to my knowledge. The date that I did my research, the plane had never been found. Another famous case of a missing engineer is Charles Ogle. Now, this guy was a wealthy real estate developer, okay, from Auckland. Again, he vanished on his way to Las Vegas. He was an ex-Marine Corps pilot. So again, military trained, but he managed to disappear. Okay, and he was never seen or heard of again. Now, the question you've got to ask yourself is, what's going on here? Now, these are just not ordinary pilots. These are military pilots now, and they're still going missing. All right, another one, Major Ross Malher. He had a F-117. I think that's how you call it. Let me just check. Yeah, an F-117. He flew into the mountain near Bakersfield, California. Okay, the cause of the crash was never officially revealed, but for some reason, that plane suddenly crashed. A plane that was in perfect working order when it took off, for some reason, it crashed. Now, the Sierra Nevada mountains, it runs perpendicular with the jet stream. Okay, so with high Pacific winds and all that, it can, there's high altitude peaks and all the rest of it, and cliff faces and forests and all the rest of it. I understand that could cause a lot of pilot error. Okay, I do get that. But what I don't understand is over 2,000 planes have gone missing, but only a fraction have been recovered. I will state, though, that while looking for some of these other crashes, some wreckages were found while searching for these planes. Some hikers have found stuff like a hiker found Steve Fossett's ID, which later led to finding the wreckage, because that's how big the mountains are, and that's how vast the forest is. So that's how difficult it is to find things. But we're not talking about a car or a person. We're talking about planes. And like I said, Two of these planes definitely should have been able to be found. They were bombers. These are huge planes. And okay, one was found in the lake, other never found to this day. And that's not just it as well. For instance, that hikers are told never to go hiking in Robb Canyon because some people have mysteriously disappeared. But they say you'll run into ghosts, loads and loads and loads of ghosts. There's 4 ghosts that have been like the mainstay of this. 4 people who were murdered there. So decades ago, and their ghosts are down there. And some say that if you see the ghosts, they take you away. The Hoover Dam, which is around there, thousands, sorry, not thousands, hundreds of people died building that dam. And they say their ghosts haunt there, and people have mysteriously disappeared there or been mysteriously found there and disappeared further inside the triangle. So, although I know a lot of people are going to say, Area 51 Oz, it's right there. Area 51 deals with aliens and all that. Could it be something to do with that? I only bring the information to you. How you choose to interpret the information is down to yourself. If they say, we can debunk 99% of everything that's been said, that still means 1% is true. And it's the 1% we want to know about. It's the 1% that would most probably give us all the information we need. Yes, I truly believe that sometimes it's been pilot error and these planes have gone down and crashed. The amount that not being found anywhere has totally disappeared. Like, for instance, Steve Foster, this was a major search for this man, which would have covered all those areas. They'd have grid searched. Military was involved. Everybody was involved. This guy was a icon in the US. This guy had set records. He was a record breaker. A very famous person in the US. So, all the stops would have been pulled out to try and find him. And as I said, this was in 2007, where technology was strong enough that I personally believe, if it was there the first time, they would have found it. Because they were looking from the day he went missing. So, with the wreckage, there must have been broken tree branches, smashed bits of plane. There must have been debris. If there was debris. Now, I'm not a conspiracy theory as such that are like, oh, put on my tinfoil hat, but I do believe that there's more to this world than what meets the eye. Most things, yes, can be explained away, but there are some things in this world that need to be looked into more to get the correct assumption to what's going on. Don't guess. Even Einstein believed that, at some points you can actually create wormholes, which could take you from one place to another. You have to think, when you think 2,000 planes have vanished in this area. And like I said, it's a very treacherous mountain range. The forests are very dense and covered over, and it's very hard to spot things sometimes. And, because I do know that while they were searching for one of the planes, they found 5 wreckages while searching for I believe it was Steve's plane. Yeah, so some wreckages have been found. So some questions have been answered, but not all the questions have been answered. And I know most people will point to Area 51 and conspiracy theorists will jump on that. And if that's where you want to go, so be it. This is just information I'm bringing to you. But imagine, why is it that the Bermuda Triangle is so well known, but an area where 2,000 planes have vanished is unknown to most people? Why is this a place where so much happens, but so little people know about it? Well, I hope this entertained you, and I hope you found this interesting. I really do. Now, do remember, okay, this is just my opinion based on the facts that I have found. This is not the opinion of anybody else, so do with it as you will. I hope you have a wonderful day. You take care until we meet again.